So I'm here to talk about XPRIZE today. Many of you in the room may have heard of XPRIZE. Anybody here? Yeah. Great. That's kind of what I thought, kind of like 30% or so of the audience. So let me tell you who we are. We basically are a catalyst for exponential change. We are an innovation platform, and we have our own little unique formula to spur wide-scale innovation, radical innovation, and allow people, ordinary people like you and I, to go ahead and take some massive moonshots. Where was the magic spot, Jack? To point, okay, it's just kind of like in the air. All right. So we've got this pretty elegant and simple premise. And the premise is that we want to find a solution to some of humanity's grandest challenges. You really cannot expect people to work on that in their spare time, in their garage. You have to, we believe that you have to incentivize people to work on these kind of moonshot thinking. We have to incentivize people to really come up and transform the world. And frankly, there's only two things that truly incentivize people. One is money, because without it, nothing much happens. And the second, the more powerful one, is the chance to really make a difference, to really impact the world, to really leave behind a legacy of transformational change, to really be able to change life for the rest of humanity. And so that's what we capitalize on. Those are the sentiments that we really capitalize on. So in a nutshell, we design and then launch and operate very large-scale challenges or prizes. And through our prizes, we call out to the world, and we ask innovators everywhere to come and solve a problem that we have designed for them to solve. So what are the problems that we look at? We look at these massive, overburdened challenges, the kind of big stuff that, you know, the newspapers are full of. What is the future of water on a planet where by 2025, half the population are going to live in water-scarce areas? You know, what is the future of food going to look like? What about women's safety? Why is Delhi the rape capital of the world? Enough already. And these are these big, overburdened problems that seem so staggering, and they just kind of bring everyone to a standstill. Well, we figured that if we incentivize all of you well enough, you will help us solve these challenges. So that's essentially what we're doing at XPRIZE. I'm waving the wand, okay? For us, technology is an amazing lever. We believe that if we can use disruptive technologies, not just any old technologies, but especially disruptive technologies to solve some of these challenges, then we can truly change the world. We are a very technocentric organization, but then we come to a place like India and we say, you know, technology isn't enough. It's about going to market. It's about getting to scale. But it's about doing that in 18 months. It's about really changing the lives for 1 billion people. And that's our real moonshot. That's the kind of big thinking that really is keeping us up at night. Waving the magic wand again. So let me tell you about some of our prizes first. Jack already talked about the $10 million Ansari XPRIZE. We were essentially born in space. This was the first prize that we put on, and he already talked about this. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to try and run through some of these other slides. Many of you in Bangalore have heard about the Google Lunar XPRIZE, right? Yep. Come on, guys, wake up. Bangalore, Team Indus, yeah? All right, good, good. We'll be talking to Rahul in a little bit. So this is a $30 million prize to go back to the moon. Have you guys heard about this prize? It's in our final, in our final testing right now, the Qualcomm Tricorder Prize, making science fiction into science reality. Does anyone know what the tricorder was? Star Trek, exactly. So, you know the doctor in Star Trek, he had this little device, and when you came off planet, he would scan your body and see whether you're an alien or not, or see if you had Rigerian fever or was some kind of disease, etc. Well, we said, why don't we take that and create an XPRIZE around it? What's the prize? A device that fits in the palm of your hand that can non-invasively diagnose 16 health conditions. And we have a team from India. You're going to hear from them in a bit. And then we've launched our Global Learning XPRIZE. This is a software prize, $15 million prize, to write an elegant piece of software that can take a child in a zero literacy situation where there's no access to schools. 1.2 billion children today cannot read or write. So how do we take a child in a zero literacy situation to basic literacy and numeracy? And how can you do this in 18 months? We have a lot of teams that have applied from India. We just launched an adult literacy prize, also another software prize. The competition is still open. If you're interested in applying, go to our website and read the details. This is an $8 million prize. And we have a whole suite of ocean prizes for ocean health, which I'm not going to go into right now. So these are some of the prizes that we have launched. These are some of the competitions that are currently running. And now we've come to India. We launched in India about a year ago. And India is a wonderful place for us because it's got some of the brightest minds in the world. And we've also got these massive problems at grand scale. So when we truly want to solve and take these moonshots, we don't really need to do it in a small lab. We can use not just cities like Bangalore as a lab, but the entire country as a lab. So it's really, really exciting for us to be here. I want to talk more about XPRIZE, but frankly, nobody tells our stories better than our teams themselves. So I want to introduce two of our fabulous team leaders, bring them up on stage. Rahul, would you grace us, please? So Rahul, Fleet Commander for Team Indus, going to the moon, based right here in Bangalore. Sridharan, please. And Sridharan, the head of Team Dhanvantri, who's in the finals for the Qualcomm Tricorder Prize. So take a seat, guys, and let's talk a bit. Just first, give us a little bit of introduction on how you came to XPRIZE, Rahul. Or we talk about how incentive competitions really allow people to take these moonshots, how incentive competitions find innovators everywhere. Is that true? Was that the case for you?
Well, the real story or the official story. So let's go with the official story. The official story is on one of these long transatlantic flights. I watched this a small documentary about Ansari XPRIZE, and Bert Rutan is Bert Rutan. 45 years of building planes with his own hands. He built 45 planes, which is amazing. But what was also interesting were the other teams who participated. And there were teams from Europe, there were teams from South America, and that was the first time that got me thinking that it's not necessarily about that one guy who knows it all who can do it. It's also about the other people who get up there, take up a challenge, and try to solve that problem. So problem solving, Jack spoke about it. That got me thinking. Came across Google Lunar XPRIZE as an accident. And I asked myself the question, why not? It's very easy to ask a question why and then try and come up with the reasons why should you do it, and why give up a cozy job or give up a company that you're running, or try and solve a problem which other people are not trying to solve. But the moment you ask yourself the question why not, why not? Why not put together a team from India which can build a spacecraft? We have ISRO, we've got a great ecosystem in aerospace. Why can't you get all these people together and build your own spacecraft? Why can't you fund it privately? If you can fund cricket matches, IPL teams, why can't you fund a team which is building technology to go to the moon? So for me, that was the moment. That was almost 5 years ago. The jury's out whether that was brave or stupid. We'll find out in the next couple of years.
Great, thank you. Sridhar, and how did you get introduced?
See, actually, like we were looking at India and see what we can do. So we were working with a lot of healthcare institutions, major hospitals. One of the things which we found in India was a big digital rural versus urban divide. So 800 million people in India were living in the rural areas and your doctor population, everything. So we looked into it and said like, okay, let us bring some innovative telemedicine concept. As Jack was saying, the smartphone speedometer and also has a built-in music player so that like you can listen to the music when you're walking. And also it has an LCD screen.
Great, great. So they're testing this right now on live humans in San Diego Hospital. And what's your status in the competition?
We are in the top 7 now. Actually, when the competition started, it was around 325 competitors across the world. We had Harvard, Stanford, Johns Hopkins, you name every single corporation was there. And I believe we are the only ones from India who made it to the top 7 now. Thank you.
Great. So Rahul, what does it feel like to be on such a frontier of a new technology?
It's for me, and you know, when I started this off, this was one problem that a small team was trying to solve. As we went deeper, we realized, and I've done many companies before this, the problems aren't too dissimilar. It's just that the scale is a little larger, and it looks very, very complicated from the outside. But end of the day, and a whole bunch of software guys over here who know that end of the day, the core of any system is written over 1 week by 3 guys. You do have 300 guys after that who finish up, dot the I's, cross the T's. But end of the day, it's about problem solving. We pride ourselves in the initial problems that we solved. I thought we caught a few lucky breaks whereby the initial architecture was set up correctly and we managed to stick to it. Too many changes too often, especially coming from a software background, is the norm, but here we resisted. So end of the day, we are still a startup. We face the same challenges, the people challenges, the money challenges, the credibility challenges with suppliers saying, we can't do this till we see that kind of a volume, so on and so forth. But with us, a few things work because we are an XPRIZE team. We get that added credibility. We get the fact that we are able to talk about Google being a sponsor for the competition that we're working on. What doesn't work is, or didn't work in the starting, was the scale of the problem that we're trying to solve. So
by the way, can I just interrupt? Because I kind of rushed through my introduction. I wanted to give you guys more time. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Tell, for the few who may not have heard of you in this room.
For the few who have heard about us, and for the rest. So we're trying to build, it's a 2-point problem statement from Google Lunar XPRIZE. Point number 1 states before 31st December 2017, land on the moon, move 500 meters, send back evidence that you've done so. Rule number 2 states you have to do that while you're 90% privately funded. So that's the problem statement. The first team to do so wins $20 million. The second team to do so wins $5 million. Just to catch a ride to get off Earth costs you about $40 to $50 million. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve, which is trying to do this as quickly as possible, as cost effectively as possible, and to do it ahead of 15 remaining teams in the world. Just to complete that, this problem has been solved by 3 different nations before. Americans and the Russians back in the late 60s, the Chinese a couple of years back. So soft landing on the moon has been done only by 3 different countries. We are a team of about 50 to 60 people right now. We hope to do it in the next 2 years.
But the finances make no sense, right? I mean, they don't, the numbers you just rattled off. And, why the hell do you think you're going to be successful?
So it is, as a startup, you'll be thrown all challenges. So it's not just about the product that you're building. You have to create a market fit because you started with the problem statement, and build a business plan which allows you to leverage the capability that you build, the capacity that you build, and to be able to make a business out of it. The competition is open as any XPRIZE. We have not-for-profits, we have university teams, and we have full for-profit private entities like ourselves. So we're seed funded. We're going for our next round of financing early next year. We're building a business around aerospace products and services. India is a great destination for these kind of products and services. We believe that's the next wave. We believe after the auto parts, the pharma, and the finance, aerospace could be the one big industry which is going to come in India. If that happens, we'd happen to be amongst the first few startups to be part of that.
Great, great. And where are you at in the competition
Tricky
right
question. The answer is it's complicated on what our status is right now. But we were shortlisted amongst the top 3 last year. We are trying to put the pieces together. There are many, many moving pieces. We believe we're in the top 20%. Let me just leave it at that without trying to put a number to it.
Great, but I don't know if the audience caught that. They were in the top 3 a few months ago for milestone prizes. Top 3 in the world, guys. Well, thank you. Thanks a lot. So Sridharan, it's been a long journey, right? The Qualcomm Tricorder Prize is what, 4 years now?
Yeah, more than 3 years now.
3 years now.
Yeah.
At that time there weren't all the wearables. Now we do have healthcare pretty much on our wrist, if not in the palm of our hand. A lot of these things did not exist. About 3-4 years ago when we launched this prize. What was that journey like for you to convince funders, to keep your team motivated for 3 years as they saw this market kind of pop up and take off in different parts?
Luckily, so I work for a company, so American Megatrends, and we are known to the world as the largest BIOS manufacturer. We boot around 500 million computers across the globe every day. So in our DNA, we have been always wanting to we have a great technical appetite in building new technologies. So my chairman, Shankar, is a technocrat, so he loves technology. But this is completely a non-traditional business for us. We are more into building PCs and computers and like more on the OEM side. And India, there is no manufacturing. So when I went with him and said, I'm going to do this, first thing he looked at me is like, okay, are you really sure? Do you think you will have a scope for it? Because there is nothing that you can use with what we have already. Everything is going to be. So one thing I told him, sir, but we have the talent. And that is the only thing that I need. And the funding, I will somehow manage. So when I am doing this, I had some part of the components, which I was able to make it into a solution and sell it to a few of the other customers. So I was able to generate some revenue. And I was using that revenue to fund the development. And second important thing which I also did was like we went and approached DSIR. And we also got ourselves registered as part of the DSIR so that we can get some tax credits and tax refunds when we are working on such high-level innovation projects. So a lot of juggling had to be done. The more importantly, more than XPRIZE asking me the milestone deadlines every month, my chairman would be asking me the milestone deadlines every week. So what was my passion doubled and it became his passion. So he was like asking questions almost every single week in our meeting and said, where are you going? What are you doing? And since we had some good hardware experience that was helping us. So jokingly here, Rahul is there who is trying to build the biggest spaceship possible, and we are trying to build the very smallest hardware device possible, which can be put into the pocket, and both had a different set of challenges that needs to be addressed. So since the board was, we had a fortunate board which was forthcoming and which was encouraging us, and since we were able to open up some revenue streams along the way, I think we were able to convince the board to keep funding us.
Okay, great. So my last question is about being looked upon as heroes. So at XPRIZE, we say that our teams are our heroes. Through them, we actually change the world. And a lot of people, younger generation too, look upon you all and the work that you all are doing as heroes. So what does it feel like to have that on one hand, but on the other hand, have daily challenges that are enormous? That you know, with everything, with funding, with motivation, with government regulations, with all kinds of things. So to both of you, can you speak a little bit about that part of the journey?
So I'm low profile, people don't recognize me, so therefore don't look at me as a hero. But the question that I'm often asked is, are you trying to be an inspiration? My answer there is, I don't think any company, any person starts out trying to be an inspiration or a hero. We set out to solve a problem. It happens to be a very, very interesting problem. It happens to be a problem that a lot of people would want to solve if they had the opportunity and possibly the resources. So it's regular stuff. We don't try to go out there. We don't try and tell anybody how to do things. Just by doing our jobs very well, staying focused, not changing too often, I think we managed to attract a fair amount of talent pool. We have 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 18-year-olds who work in our organization. So I think those are our heroes. I think a lot of them are already showing the ability to go out there and set up their own companies and then become heroes on their own. So nothing that we do special to be a hero or to be able to address that, but just do your job, do it well, and if things go right, you'd probably be, you know, later on be spoken about as something that was inspirational, but nothing that we do in real time to do that.
So basically, if things go right, you literally go to the moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I echo the similar sentiments of Rahul. We don't look at ourselves as heroes. This is an enormous responsibility I think we have taken, and especially if we can bring a small change here, we are helping so many people across the world to live one more day of their happy life continuing without any compromises did. Around the world, 9.4 million people die every year due to heart attack. And if we can alert them well in advance, and if we can help them to change their lifestyle and diet, we can allow them to have much better life. And more importantly, it is the team. At the end of the day, the team. So from outside, they may look at it like, okay, how you guys are doing a great thing, but internally we have a lot of fear, right? We always have that fear. We have taken a big responsibility here, and we know the prize is there, but more importantly, the value that we are going to provide if we come out successful is going to bring a radical change in the health of each and every individual. And that is what is motivating us, and that is what is making us go the next step forward.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Senior.
So thank you so much for coming out on the stage with me, and good luck
Thank
with
you.
the next stage of the competition. Yeah. Good luck, Rahul.